Bielitsa with the rebound to Farrell in attack mode. Lobs it ahead at the rim. Oh my goodness, a catch, a twist, and a double flush thrown down by Marvin Bagley, and that was absolutely eye-popping. Oh my goodness, I don't know that I've ever seen a quicker release for a two-hand flush as he made the catch in the air, shoulder toward the rim, and he just turned around and ripped it without going to the floor. This crowd on its feet is absolutely alive and electric. Bogdanovich on the left angle from Iman Shumpert. Gets a token screen, drives, picks up the dribble, spins to his left, feeds to Bagley, kicks to the corner. Yogi for three. He stays perfect on the night. Yogi Ferrell, 6 for 6, 4 for 4 from downtown. He has 17 points. Bogdanovich shovels the ball to Shumpert. Deep three-point range, right wing. Back to Bogey at the top of the circle. Moves left, hands it off to Farrell. Shakes left, goes right, comes back left. Pulls up, off the bounce. Scores again! A two-ball knocked down by Farrell. 7 for 7, 19 season-high points. Kings leading by 17 at 118 to 101. Here's Cauley-Stein, gathers in the paint, turns, right-hand hook, bounces, no good, stick back! Marvin Bagley with a new career, scoring high with a left-hand stick back off the bouncing miss from Willie Cauley-Stein. Makes it 121-108. Shot clock is off, 17 seconds to go. Kings fans all coming to their feet at Golden One Center. A 6-game homestand started with a victory over Atlanta. The accelerator went to the floor against the Philadelphia 76ers on Saturday night. And now the Kings have won for a 7th straight time in this building, defeating the San Antonio Spurs 127 to 112.
Okay, good morning. Sacramento Kings are 1-0. Excuse me, that doesn't sound right. Sacramento Kings are undefeated when Kyle Madsen is sleeping one off in Reno after the Super Bowl.
Great point.
Welcome back, Kyle.
Hey, thanks, man.
Good to have you back.
Good to be back.
I want to once again thank Jay Marshall for filling in aptly.
Shout out Jay Mars.
He's going to be on this station someday.
I mean, he was okay.
Really good.
What if I was just super salty?
I know, he was fine.
No, it was good. It was really entertaining.
You were listening for a little bit.
I was.
I know that. You were listening on the Cage to K.
I had such a fire Wes Matthews text.
You had some hot takes that were ready.
Yep.
Have you noticed that's tough when you do have a day off, especially after big things happen? And if you were listening at all, did you have were you just like rolling around the pepper mill, firing off hot takes at random bystanders?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I want to welcome in. I know we have a very big audience this morning. Listen, we're the number 12 morning show in the nation.
Right.
We always have a big audience. We have an extra large, supersized audience.
We have like a number 6 or 7 sized audience probably this morning.
There's some people that have not slept yet, Kyle. And was last night's
shout out to those people.
Yeah, right. Good for you, and maybe get some rest soon.
Yeah, go to sleep.
Yeah, lay off the coffee. I am Carmichael Dave. That is Kyle Madsen. Eunice behind the glass with Kyle. We're at full strength this morning. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. That is your phone numbers, brought to you by Fire Wings, and the Jiffy Lube text line at 441140. So I would like a check-in via phone or text. A lot of people were tweeting and social media-ing, because that's how we stay together when we're not on the radio, throughout the evening. And Kyle, last night was not it wasn't the biggest win of the year, and it wasn't like they didn't win a playoff series, but there was something about last night that has really kicked this city into a different gear, and it's kind of a palpable feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It could all come crashing down really quick. Let's remember that. Houston's coming in on Wednesday, and this is a brutal part of the schedule over the next now 9 games. But as of right now, the Kings have won 7 in a row. Last night was their 28th win. They surpassed
7 in a row at home.
7 in a row at home. Guys, you're absolutely wow. Way to bring the mood down, Kyle. Jeez.
I'm just saving the people that we're going to text and go, oh,
Great
they
point.
haven't won 7 in a row, Dave.
And they have won 7 in a row at home. And last night, they officially exceeded their entire win total from last year with 29 games left in the regular season. Should I start saying that now?
Yeah.
29 games left in the regular season, implying that there could be additional games after the regular. That sounds weird.
If only somebody had, brought that up.
I know, but then I feel like this means.
I think it's because they looked so abysmal on that road trip.
Yeah.
And then they come back and they beat the Sixers and they beat the Spurs, soundly thumped the Spurs.
Yeah.
It's just it's one of those things where this team can play with every team in the league.
They really can. They really can, except the Clippers, but they really can. They can play with the Warriors.
They can play with most teams. There's matchup issues sometimes that you're going to run into. It's the NBA. But
we have a lot of Kings for you today. We really do. And we also have some friends joining us as well. Everybody wants to hang out after a win.
Can I make a prediction?
I would like you to
on
make
the
a
rundown.
Prediction. Yeah, please.
So on the rundown in our 645 block, we have Super Bowl ratings lowest since 2007. I'm just crossing that off. We're not going to talk about that.
I had to put some other things in there.
At the 7 o'clock, we have Lakers improve offer to Anthony Davis. That might come up very briefly.
Yeah, but the Mark Cuban thing's probably got no chance.
Yeah, Mark Cuban, 0 chance.
No chance.
Like, dude, get over it. They drafted Marvin Bagley.
4-down territory, I'd really actually...
4-down territory, we'll talk foosball.
We only have a week left of 4-down territory, so
yeah.
we still have some Super Bowl cleanup we have to do.
But then we have Jason March, Katie Hunter, yeah.
Jason March, assistant coach of the Kings, coming on at 7:35.
Katie Hunter at 8:05.
The Katie Hunter's coming on, and that's
the
8:05.
Hunter of Katie's.
Yes, and this originally started because we were arguing on the on Twitter about whether or not Buddy Hield. She's all hot to trot that Buddy Hield should be in the All-Star game over Klay Thompson, and weirdly enough, I'm defending Klay Thompson being in the. It's a weird thing going on.
Buddy's had a better offensive year.
Buddy's had a better offensive year. Well, Klay's actually scoring more than Buddy by over a point a game, but usage and percentages, and the fact that Buddy's shooting a ridiculous 46% from behind the arc. Buddy's got him slightly in assists. He's got him pretty decently in rebounds. The gist of my argument is this. They're fairly close offensively. Here's the tiebreaker. Klay Thompson is a far better defender than Buddy Hield. And he also is a valuable starter on the best team in the NBA. And when tiebreakers,
he's going to get the nod.
He's going to get the nod. I'm not that upset about it. Buddy will have.
Had Buddy gotten in over Klay, you wouldn't have gotten
been upset about it either. No. So Katie's going to come. We were supposed to argue about that. Maybe we will, but I kind of want to focus on the game here. And then Lance Woods, he of the tremendous videos and video content. He is going to come in studio and hang out with us as he often does at 8:35. Take us all the way till 9 o'clock. 2 minutes? Well, hold on a second. We have Kyle stories.
Okay.
In 2 minutes?
So I saw this guy who had a 5-team NBA parlay.
Kyle had a 5-team parlay.
This guy I saw.
Excuse me, this guy he saw. No, you were in Reno. It could be you.
Oh, can it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had this 5-team parlay. First game was Clippers at Pistons. Clippers getting a 1.5.
Yep.
The first time I looked at the score, they were down 25 points.
Yes, and they came back.
I just punted. I go, my parlay is done.
Sure.
The Clippers are done. I look up at the TV. They're hitting a 3 at the end of the third quarter to make an 11-point game. They come back. They win by 10.
Yes.
The Hornets were down 10 in like the fourth quarter, covered the 6.5.
Yes.
The Mavericks were down a bunch of points to the Cavs, came back, covered their 6.5. The Warriors were close with the Lakers until the fourth, pulled away, covered 11.5.
Until DeMarcus Cousins killed Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, that was
amazing.
RIP. I'm amazed the Pelicans still want him in a trade.
That's kind of crazy.
No, he's dead.
He's dead.
So I have all this. So I have the 76ers minus 3.5 against the Kings.
You took the Sixers minus 3.5, and I believe your bet was $5 to win $125. $125.
Yeah.
You're going to win $120 on a $5 investment.
Right. And I had the Kings circled on my parlay card because I wanted to root for them.
Sure.
But I know how I get when a team I bet on loses.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to unleash that on the Kings.
You don't want to hate the Kings for that.
Right. And I'm going, you know what? I can talk myself into this. The Sixers are the more talented team. Embiid is gonna eat down low, and all right, fine. And, I mean, he did. He had a really good game.
Yeah, he really did.
But the Kings ended up winning by 7. And
you lost your parlay.
After all these comebacks.
What was it, a 6-team parlay?
5.
5-team parlay, and you lost on the very last one. And that's why
I texted you right after I made the parlay going, hey, look at me guaranteeing Kings wins.
And you did. And so props to Kyle. Kyle is, in fact, the reason why the Sacramento Kings beat the 76ers the other night. So thank you, Kyle, for that. And true or false, that's why you stayed up in Reno, was to kind of recover from the sadness?
True.
Yeah.
There was not even snow on the ground.
Let's break down a Sacramento Kings win over the San Antonio Spurs next. I want you to check in at 44-1140. Call us at 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. A lot of heavy Kings today, and we're going to look at this from a short-term and long-term perspective. And the controversial tweet I sent out last night about the Kings that is nearing 1,000 likes.
Irresponsible.
That is why I changed my Twitter handle, and that is why I've got it, or not my handle, excuse me, my Twitter bio, and why I have a brand new title on the video cast of the show. I don't know why it was so controversial, but hey, what are you going to do? We're back in a couple. We'll start the show in earnest. Sorry, Ernest. Sports 1140 KHTK.
Bielitsa with a rebound to Farrell in attack mode, lobs it ahead at the rim. Oh my goodness, a catch, a twist, and a double flush thrown down by Marvin Bagley, and that was absolutely eye-popping. Oh my goodness, I don't know that I've ever seen a quicker release for a two-hand flush as he made the catch in the air, shoulder toward the rim, and he just turned around and ripped it without going to the floor. This crowd on its feet is absolutely alive and electric.
You know who else is alive and electric is Gary Gerald.
We talked about, and I think we've had this discussion before, but last year when we would do Kings highlights, we would talk about how, or lowlights, I guess, last year. We would talk about how just like sad G-Man sounded and how that was part of the reason we wanted the Kings to be good again was to give G-Man something to be happy about.
And he is.
He has been rejuvenated.
And he said something like that last night himself. I forget who he was talking. He was talking to a player. Maybe it was Harry Giles. But he's having so much fun. Jerry Reynolds, 3-0 on the broadcast. He's doing 10 games this year. That was pre-planned, where he and Doug Christie switch spots. And a lot of people are taking that kind of like that shade. We're in the Doug Christie hive. Right. Like, trust me when I say if it was switched and Doug came in and was 3-0 in his first 3 games, we would be saying Doug can't leave until I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen. If the Kings are 10-0 at the end of Jerry's run, Jerry can't leave until they lose.
And I suspect Doug would be the first one to tell you that.
Yes, Doug is a former athlete. He's still an athlete. All athletes say the same thing. What did Crash Davis say? Never with a winning streak.
Don't mess with a winning streak, is what he said on the TV version of Bull Durham.
Marvin Bagley last night. Can we finally I don't even want to mention the name, but can we have one day where people don't.
We're not talking about any other draft picks.
Correct. Can people finally get past that? All right. Can we just focus on Marvin Bagley in 31 minutes, which was tied for third on the team? A team leading 24 points, a team leading 12 rebounds. He had a team leading 3 blocks on 10 of 17. SportsCenter highlight of the night.
He had a team leading 360 alley-oop.
Do we call that a 360? I mean, I'm not nitpicking here, but kind of
like
a 180.
Okay,
yeah, I've heard
fine.
a lot of 360s, but 180, that's fine. And a team leading plus 23 on the night. Second was plus 15, Fox and Shumpert.
Yeah.
By the way, maybe the most impressive stat from Marvin Bagley, the 19-year-old rookie last night. We'll get into this more. 31 minutes, Kyle. 10 of 17. 0 turnovers. 0 fouls.
Wow.
How about that? A lot of Sacramento Kings coming up today. We've got you covered here on The Drive. Jason March, assistant coach at 7:35. The Katie Hunter at 8:05. And Lance Woods in studio at 8:35. Number 2.
Clark up the floor to Okafor. Okafor to the rim. Lays it in. like a guard, Jolly Okafor down the floor.
The LA Lakers have improved their offer for Anthony Davis. Magic Johnson and Dell Demps have been on the phone constantly. And why do we care?
Because this could really shake things up. And honestly,
8 seconds left in regulation, a 48-yard try for Zerline. He hits it with the right foot, and he yanked it left. No good. No good, and Super Bowl 53 belongs to the New England Patriots.
Screw the Lakers.
Not enough people talking about how much Greg Zerline choked there.
Big-time joker. By the way, sorry about Morning Brew, too, but we don't really like to spend a lot of time on teams that are below the Kings. Okay.
It does for real. This is Sacramento Kings related. That Anthony Davis thing does matter to the Kings, though, because the Lakers are chasing them in the standings.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very real thing.
Right. You have to kind of look back and go, oh, what are the teams behind us doing that could threaten us?
Right. Because right now, the Lakers, to me, are not that big of a threat. If they get Anthony Davis, they are.
We're in like an LA sandwich right now. It's kind of gross in the standings. You got the Clippers a half game ahead of Kings are a half game out of the playoffs. Clippers above us. And the Lakers, what, a game and a half behind us? Blech. We got to get out of that.
Yeah.
All right. The Super Bowl, the point of the Super Bowl clip, by the way, just to finish off, the Super Bowl rating is the lowest since 2007. And what we're going to discuss in Four Down Territory, Kyle, is how much of that was the teams. I don't have hour-to-hour breakdowns yet, so I can't tell you if like everyone watched in the first quarter and then it trailed off. But the ratings overall, how much of that's the teams? How much of that is the NFL?
Right.
You know, NFL numbers were up this year pretty much across the board because they dropped the year before.
Well, you had the entire New Orleans market had its lowest ratings like ever. I would be interested to see St. Louis's numbers.
Yeah.
Two decent markets.
The New Orleans number, it's very, very, very poignant, and that's that's Four Down Territory number 2. That's second down. Yeah. That is huge, and that's how you send a message, in my opinion, to a major sports franchise. We'll take a break. When we come back, Kings, Spurs, we got your highlights, a little bit of analysis to go with that as well as the drive. Sports 1140 KHTK.
Hey, it's Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings won their 7th consecutive home game last night with a 127-112 romp over the San Antonio Spurs. Marvin Bagley, the rookie, led the way with 24 points, 12 boards, and 4 assists off the bench. Sacramento has now won 3 in a row and 4 of their last 5. They are off today. They face James Harden tomorrow at the Golden One Center. Talks between the Lakers and Pelicans about a trade for star power forward Anthony Davis are heating up. However, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that New Orleans is willing to wait for the trade deadline to pass and deal Davis when more teams can be involved in the discussions. Those are your top stories. Now it's back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Well, you probably want me to play some music.
Yeah, rejoin would be that would be tight.
Let's see. What do we? Okay, let's go with. Let's go with 30 Seconds to Mars.
The best morning show on KHTK. The drive continues now.
Jason March at 7:35. Kings assistant coach. Talk about these new awesome Kings.
Times are changing.
They are. Times are changing, kids. Katie Hunter, sideline reporter, and former member of this program at 8:05. We will argue about something. Probably Buddy Hield's all-star qualifications. And then Lance Woods, who is a very funny young man, and you see all over social media with his videos after Kings wins and losses. He will be in studio with us at 8:35. I want to remind you, too, Sam Amick will join us each and every Thursday throughout the basketball season at 8:05 on Thursday. Sean Salisbury, 7:35 Fridays, even after football. Also, want to hear from you guys today. 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. That is your Fire Wings hotline. 21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com. Hey, just wing it. From Dave Yeager last night, his thoughts quickly on the game.
Athleticism to, we're going to take some hits, and our guys took some physical beating tonight and stood in and tried to deliver as many blows as they could, and we kept trying to run them, and maybe we wore them down or maybe not, but it was a total team win, and different guys contributing different spots. Thought Amon, battled against DeRozan. I thought Willie took a lot of hits against LaMarcus. We tried not to double him and open up shooting on the perimeter, but we tried to give him enough different looks. Harry did a nice job coming in. I thought Marvin had a terrific game. As his experience level goes up, the game's starting to slow down for him. Different matchups that he's got to guard on the perimeter. He has to get it. How can he do this? How can he do that? Thought he had a terrific game. I thought Yogi Ferrell was tremendous, and that's why I thought he had a hot hand. And I did sit De'Aaron and Buddy a long time, but I felt like we had a rhythm with that group, especially defensively. We were getting stops, and they weren't getting second shots, which was a big issue in the first half with 9 offensive rebounds. But we got out and ran, and very positive and just a good, happy locker room tonight.
That's Dave Yeager last night, obviously in a very good mood. Have some sound. I haven't heard. I've only seen a little bit of this on social media in written form. Greg Popovich spoke last night after a loss. The Spurs had won 7-10 coming into last night, Kyle. It's not like they were slumping or anything. They're a pretty hot team. Interesting to hear what Pop, who's generally has been very complimentary of Vlade and the Kings this year. See what he had to say after last night's game.
28%. If you don't shoot from 3 well, you better play good D to keep in the ball game. But they killed us in transition. Our transition defense was really poor. So that's a bad combination. No transition D and not making threes. And that's basically the ball game.
Coach, can you comment on Marvin Bagley? He's been coming on strong this last week.
Yeah, he showed a lot of confidence tonight. Going to the rim, pulling up and shooting shots, shooting a 3. He showed a lot of confidence, and he did a great job.
Okay. Nothing earth-shattering there, but it's nice to hear Greg Popovich talk about your team at all.
I thought he was going to launch into a whole thing about, the way this team has developed their young stars, and I was expecting a whole thing. That was kind of a basic.
You're probably better off getting compliments out of him pre-game than post-game.
Yeah.
He doesn't really want to talk up. Coaches know this, especially guys been around as long as Pop. You go to different markets, especially when you lose, and all the questions are going to be about, what do you think about this player, that player for the home team? Right. We just got our ass kicked. I don't want to talk about the home team. Let's talk about my dumb team. I get it. Kyle, you're the king of stats, and we don't need this right now, but is this a relatively easy thing for you to search out at some point today? I would love to see, and we should start naming this lineup. We can't just call it the death lineup because that's taken.
That's right.
Right. But the Bagley, Giles, Buddy, Bogey, Fox lineup.
Fox,
Buddy, Bogey, Buddy, Giles, Bagley.
Bags.
I'm very curious to see. I mean, I don't know if we can even split it like this.
Yeah, you can do all kinds of different lineup combos.
Is it possible to do that lineup combo, but then also look at what they've done the last 10 games, or is it for the whole season?
I think you can filter out the last 10.
That lineup's very, very interesting to watch.
Yeah, especially since it's like their future starting 5.
Uh-huh. And the only question there really is Bogey. Is Bogey going to be, is that your future starter at the 3?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they going to go bring? It's a very interesting spot Vlade is in right now. And that's kind of going to be an underlying theme of today. They are a half game out of the playoffs. They are the only team with room to speak of under the cap, and they have $11 million. It's a very significant amount. They have $30+ million in expiring contracts. They have so much weaponry right now if they wanted to go out and grab somebody, to the point where they could probably use all that reserve and go out and get somebody who's a mid to late 20s former, perhaps future all-star. Like, that's the type of caliber player they can grab. But does Vlade pull the trigger now, or does he stay patient? Does he stay disciplined? And every other GM that was in a situation like him where he's looking at an extension this summer probably pulls the trigger. Vlade is a different cat.
I think we need to keep tracking this because I just put Kings schedule into Google. And I got the LA Kings, the hockey team.
Yeah.
Even though we're like, Google is locating us in Sacramento.
Yeah, that's sad.
So I'm going to do that once a day, and I'm going to see if it ever switches over. And at what point the switch happens.
At some point where they should just it should be known as the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, like when you search Kings schedule in Sacramento, you get the Sacramento Kings.
From the 916, that's the STJY lineup. Super team just young. I like Stingy. The Stingy?
Stidgy.
Yeah, see, I like the concept of that, the super team just a young lineup, but it's not a good nickname. It's not a good nickname.
By the way, speaking of the Kings and winning home games, we have tickets to see the Kings take on the Miami Heat on Friday.
Hey.
Got a pair of tickets to give away. See the Kings take on Miami at Golden One Center on February 8th, 2019. Get more info at KHTK.com. We'll give those away later. Dwayne Wade's last trip to Sacramento.
Is that a pair? A pair or two pair?
One per.
One per. Oh, just one per. Okay.
Yeah, just one. Unless you want to roll them over, then we'll do two per tomorrow.
Let's do a pair today. We'll do a pair today for like X caller, Y caller, and then tomorrow we haven't brought out King's questions.
No, we haven't done it. We have not done a good job.
And we
of that.
still have a lot of, before the season, we asked Kings different questions, all the same questions, but different Kings those questions, and we let you predict what they say, multiple choice. I think we've done Marvin Bagley so far.
Yeah, I think so
We
too.
still have like 5 other Kings, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. But last night. And where the Kings are right now, Kyle, you're talking about a team that has already won more games than they won all of last year. You're talking about a coach that is going to be on everybody's short list if the season ended today for Coach of the Year. You're talking about a GM. If it was a public vote, I wouldn't say this, but because a lot of it is, I believe it's a combination of media and peers. If the season ended today, Vlade is going to get some Executive of the Year votes. He's not going to win it. But I think you'd see the whole, complete list, and you'd see more than one vote for Vlade.
Oh, yeah. And I think unless the wheels totally fall off here, I think Yeager wins Coach of the Year.
I was thinking about this last night. It's going to be very tough to not give that to Michael Malone.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But let's go crazy optimistic scenario here, and the Kings snag like a 5 seed.
Sure.
Like the Kings just rip off like 15 of 18 here, and a bunch of teams ahead of them start losing, and they wind up with like a 5 seed. Then I think it has to go to Yeager. But yeah, Michael Malone, you're right.
I don't see anybody else in the West other than Malone that you could get. But then again, you also look at Michael, and I'm not going to disparage anything about Michael Malone ever, but you could make the argument Denver was basically a playoff team. They were
but they've been phenomenal.
They have been phenomenal. Doc Rivers has done a great job in L.A. Pop has done a great job. San Antonio is 32-23.
Wow, Steve Kerr shade.
I like us. What did Steve Kerr say yesterday when he was asked about the Patriots? Steve Kerr said
it's kind of boring seeing the same team win over and over.
We hear you, Steve. It's actually very funny. I like Steve Kerr a lot.
I do too.
I really do. But
I said I do too. Like I'm supposed to.
Yeah,
like
you're not gonna. Shockingly, you do as well. Jason March at 7:35. Katie Hunter at 8:05. When we come back, the Super Bowl ratings were the lowest since 2007. We'll talk a tiny bit, maybe, about that.
That's all. More Kings coming up next.
Unless I find something that distracts me in this next segment. Maybe we'll sneak in the Mark Cuban stuff, too, on The Drive. Sports 1140 KHTK. That was easy. 4 down territory coming up at 7:15. Kings and Spurs at the top of the hour. I tweeted last night that the Sacramento Kings are going to win a championship in the next 5 years. Turned into a controversial tweet. I don't know why. I really don't. It's okay to be optimistic. That's what I always say. Kings assistant coach Jason March at 7:35. Katie Hunter at 8:05. Lance Woods coming in studio at 8:35 to finish out the show for us. And you can watch all that at khtk.com on a laptop or desktop. It's right at the top of your screen. On a phone or perhaps even a tablet, just scroll down a little bit towards the middle. You will see the player. We're waving hello at you right now from our beautiful set here off of Highway 160 at the KHTK studios. And, of course, all video broadcasts archived at the KHTK YouTube channel and audio, as always, on the KHTK app. The Super Bowl ratings were the lowest since 2007. And we'll ask in 4-down territory why. Is that the crap game? Is it because of the teams involved, mainly the Patriots? What's weird about that is that it's not the markets, or it shouldn't be. It's a weird thing because you're talking about Boston and Los Angeles, two of the biggest markets in the United States. That's what's really worrisome if you're the NFL. It's Boston and should I say New England and Los Angeles. So you don't even have, it's not even a situation where you've got a couple of, like if it were, I don't know, just for fun with me, Oakland and the Rams. So they're on the West Coast. Or if it was the Patriots, and give me an NFC team just for fun, the Saints, where it's East Coast and then a little bit of the South. You had the stretch of the country there. And it was still really bad. Trey Wingo, who by memory can tell you, it's one of the craziest things you'll ever see if you want to YouTube it, by memory can tell you the winner, not only the final score of every single Super Bowl, but who the MVP was. Have you ever seen this?
That's amazing.
You've never seen this clip?
No.
I'll have to dig that out. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. He went off yesterday on his show about the Super Bowl. And Kyle, I'm curious if you agree with him or not.
Shut up! Just shut up! If you don't want to watch, then don't watch. Go watch the Raptors and the Knicks. Go do something else. But don't sit there for 4 flipping hours with your eyes glued to the game and say, oh, this is so boring, but I can't stop watching. Oh, it's so boring. Just shut the hell up.
Overreaction, Trey Wingo, go.
Yeah, because the whole point of watching the game is to see if anything interesting happens. You decide a game is boring based on like what's happened to that point. Like if you're tweeting in the second quarter or saying in the second quarter, this game's boring, it's because it had been through 3 quarters.
Sure.
This game's been boring. And you watch because sometimes games, a switch flips and 28 points get scored in the final 8 minutes.
Right.
And you're going, oh man, that was incredible. And you kept waiting for that moment and waiting for that moment. And then by the end of it, nothing had happened, and it was 13-3, and the game was over.
I mean, isn't that kind of the point? You watch to see if something's going to happen.
Yeah, and then nothing happened, and like you don't turn it off.
No.
You can still watch a boring game. I mean, it's a pretty dramatic overreaction.
Yeah, you can't. Let me see if this is
like was he sitting there just riveted the whole time?
I don't think anybody was.
No, and that's fine.
Let me see if this is it.
Can recite all Super Bowl scores.
Oh, geez, that's not it. I'm trying to find this Trey Wingo clip. I'm with you. That's why.
Yeah.
That's the whole point is you watched you it's the Super Bowl. Of course you have to watch it.
It's not somebody listening to an album by a band they don't like.
Right.
And talking about how awful it is. Like, no, just turn it off and turn on something you like instead. People like football. People like watching football. People want to see stuff happen. And then nothing happened.
Nothing happened, dude.
And I get shout out to Brian Flores and shout out to Wade Phillips and Bill Belichick for putting together some phenomenal game plans on defense that rendered 2 really good offenses basically useless. Like, shout out to them. That's awesome. But it was not aesthetically pleasing.
So you were not a fan. I kind of wondered if you were going to be on the other side of, hey, defense wins championships, or if you had a different.
No, and I mean, it does. Defense is important for sure, but you can have a good defensive game with more than 16 points scored. Like that was more Jared Goff not knowing what was going on than
And you think Sean McVay got embarrassed by?
Yeah, he got his pants pulled down.
That's what I kept saying yesterday. He got pantsed.
Yeah,
he got pantsed by Bill Belichick.
And he got pants so bad that's just what he said after the game. He was like, "Yeah, I got out coached."
Do you think teams will now want to fire anybody?
Yes.
Anybody associated? Anyone associated with Trey Wingo?
With Trey Wingo, yeah.
Yes. Anyone associated with Trey Wingo, they want. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say to wrap up that Super Bowl. We'll do a little bit of this in 4-down territory, but it was a stanker.
Yeah, that's it. And the Patriots have been in 8 really pretty memorable Super Bowls. And this was the first one that was like, eh. And that's fine. Like, it happens sometimes. It doesn't diminish what the Rams did this season. It doesn't diminish what the Patriots were able to do this season.
No.
It was just a bad football game. It happens sometimes.
It was a bad football game.
It was better than the Seahawks blowing out the Broncos, I think.
Was it more entertaining? I mean, honestly, was it?
No, never mind.
I don't think it was.
No, it was closer. It was definitely closer, but there were just no points in that game that I felt like the Rams were going to do anything.
Somebody put $250 on the Rams scoring exactly 3 points.
Wow.
One, I think it was $10,000. A little over that.
Wow.
We got a break. Just here's a little taste because it's a 7-minute clip. Here's Trey Wingo sitting at his desk on the SportsCenter set, off the SportsCenter set, reciting Super Bowl scores.
Super Bowl 6, 24-3. Roger Staubach, the MVP. Cowboys over the Dolphins. Super Bowl 7. One of my favorites. 14-7, the final score. Jake's got the MVP as the Miami Dolphins cap the undefeated season. But remember, the only touchdown for the Redskins in that game was a blocked field goal. Gary Upremi was going for a field goal that would have made it 17-0, the final score in the year they went 17-0.
You get the point. He goes through every Super Bowl, final score, MVP, and usually has an anecdote on the Super Bowl as well. I highly suggest you look the video up. We'll take a break. Kings, Spurs, back at it next, and maybe we'll update you on the Lakers offer for Anthony Davis if we have time. It's Sports 1140 KHTK.